Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. I'm coming to you from Las Vegas at Summer League. Keith is at home in Orlando right now. We're going to break down a number of things, some stuff going on with contracts, some things that have been happening in Summer League, and all kinds of other general NBA goodies we've got to get into today. Keith, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I enjoy the Laker-free background you have going on, so that's I appreciated that part of this show. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying it out there, staying inside and cool instead of the 110 plus degree weather.
I am doing my best to do just that. Just catching a lot of basketball games. It's been a lot of fun for sure. But Summer League is always a great experience here in Las Vegas.
It's amazing. Hey guys, we'll get into everything very quickly here today. But all I have to say is, maybe this wasn't the year for you to go. Totally get it. Wasn't the year for me to go, as I had been there several years in a row running. But if you ever have the chance, go. It's the closest thing to NBA Comic-Con is how I describe it. It's like everything NBA there for a week or so. Go at the beginning of the week so you know the main guys will be playing, because as the week drags on, some of those guys tend to show up. A couple guys we may talk about here in a little bit. Maybe making cameo appearances. But you want to get into a couple news items first?
Yeah, let's get into those the point guards and their contracts, that including one point guard that happened to make a little guest appearance at last night's Lakers game.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it. Who was it? Was it CP?
Yeah, Chris Paul. Chris Paul was there hanging out, watching the game. Had his hand in a cast sort of thing. We knew he had been having issues there, but he was at the game, hanging out in the front row, getting to watch the Lakers beat the Suns at the buzzer last night.
Are we fully honest? I did not watch the entirety of the Lakers Suns game.
I don't blame you.
A lot of prospect evaluation going on in that
No.
one. But so let's start with Chris Paul then. So as we all know, 4 years, $120 million was the reported value of his contract. That's not wrong, but it's not exactly right either.
Right.
I'm pulling up the correct amount here. So that's it, right? Like, it's 4 years, $120 million. But the structure is interesting, and the guarantees are interesting. So the structure is $30.8 million in year one, so this coming season. Then it dips down to $28.4 million. Why is that important? That's when DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges' contract extensions will be kicking in first year. So those are going to be big money. So the Suns, Chris Paul kind of helping them out a little bit there. I'll take a little bit of a decline, help you out. Then it goes back up to $30.8 million in year three, and then finishes at an even $30 million in year four. Now, what gets really interesting, though, is year three is only guaranteed for $15.8 million. So that means that Suns could save $15 million if they cut him in 2 years.
Right.
And then the final season, fully non-guaranteed. No guarantee on that final season at all. So if we want to do a little bit of quick math here, he gets $15 million in year three. Then what is that, 58, 60, 58... 59.2, so it's about 90 million. Let's just call it 90 million between friends here. A little less than that, probably actually closer to 75. It's closer to like 3 years, 75 million. So really pretty good for the Suns. Now, if Chris Paul continues to play the way he did, Suns continue to have success, of course, they should keep him. He'll get all of his money. But if the wheels fall off and he all of a sudden wakes up tomorrow and can't dribble into that elbow jumper anymore, then, they can get out of that deal with, little cost in a couple of years. So I think Phoenix did well on this one.
Yeah, that's great work by the Suns. That was my initial concern with this deal. When it came out that it was 4 years, I went, oh my gosh, by the end, this is going to be a terrible contract. But the Suns have protected themselves from that. And so that's built in. And with that being the case, I think this is a great deal for them.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt with that one. Another one, similar-ish age guy, Mike Conley. He was reported 3 years. I'd seen 72, 75 million thrown around, and that was another one where it's like, boy, that's a lot of money for an aging point guard.
Right.
But again, didn't come in quite that high. It actually came in 3 years, 68 million. He's got some bonuses in there that he can earn that'll push it up to 72.5 million if he earns all those bonuses. But some of them he's quite frankly not going to earn.
Right.
Or I think a couple of them are tied to team success. And in that case, the Jazz would be thrilled to pay him out those bonuses, because that means they're going deep into the postseason. But 21 million this year, 22.7 million next year, 24.4 million in that final year. But again, like Chris Paul, that final year is only guaranteed for $14.3 million, so a little over half. So again, you can get out of this pretty easily. That would knock it down to, let's call it 10 million guarantee, or 10 million comes off the top of that one. So you've got 14 and 22 and 21. Not bad. Less than 60 million total. For the Jazz. So I think Utah, again, like Phoenix with Chris Paul, did well to protect themselves on the back end with an older point guard who's had some injury issues.
Yeah, they definitely helped to mitigate that risk, and I love that. And, we talk about, okay, well, then why did we hear that it was X amount of dollars when it's not really, when you really dig into it? Well, if you're an agent and you're going to put out there, my client got X amount, you're going to make it sound as large as you can, because number one, you're saying, look at what I got this guy, right? And then number two, it's just the prestige factor for the client themselves, right? They get to now say, hey, I'm a $55 million player instead of really it was like 40, and then there's non-guaranteed or whatever. So that's why these come in a little bit higher. And then when you get the actual details, you're like, oh, okay, it is that, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So apparently protecting yourself with non-guarantees was the thing to do with point guards,
right?
This offseason. So let's get to Spencer Dinwiddie. Yep. His contract, again, was reportedly, I want to say people were throwing out 3 years, $60 million, 3 years, $62 million. It actually came in closer to 3 years, $54 million. Again, a good chunk of unlikely bonuses in that contract that pushes it up over the $60 million. If he makes it, he's got a very funny one, which is for $1 if they win the NBA Finals.
What? Like, where does that come from?
Probably from Spencer.
Just messing around and just throwing something in there.
That's it. Exactly. Yep. Just having a little bit of fun. So I believe it was Mike Scotto from Hoops Hype had a bunch of the details on his bonuses. Mm-hmm. So there are real ones in there that are based on team success. The dollar one just is pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it is funny because let's think about it, right? Imagine the Wizards or whatever team he's on wins the finals. You'll have a ton of people probably throwing $1 bills at him, right? To just be it.
So it's smart. It's a marketing thing, right? There you go.
It could be. Yeah, it could be his Bitcoin stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, so $17.1 million this year, $18 million next year, $18.8 million in the final season. Again, protected in that final season, guaranteed for $10 million, so they can get off about $8.9 million or so, $8.8 million. The Wizards can get off in that final year. There's a guarantee date on that in late June of that year. Is also if he plays in 50 games during the 21-22 and 22-23 season, it'll also fully guarantee that way. So if Dinwiddie proves healthy over the next couple of years, that final year will guarantee, or it can't get picked up late. So again, team is protected on that one. So I thought that was just those were noteworthy to point out. A lot of other stuff came in close-ish to, there's some stuff with bonuses in there, some of that funny money. As Trevor, you mentioned with the reporting stuff about it and why that may happen. One that did come in very different, though, from initially reported was Rudy Gay, another guy on the Jazz. That was reportedly only a 2-year deal initially. Everybody had kind of picked that up. It's actually a 3-year contract for Rudy Gay. He got the taxpayer mid-level exception for 3 years, so that final season is a player option, but I had not seen that reported until I was able to pick that up after the deal went official with him. Want to talk about another point guard that went the other way?
Kemba.
He gave up some money. Kemba Walker gave up $20 million in his buyout with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So about I believe it was 9.7 or 9.2 this year, and then it's either 10.7 or 10.2 next year. So gave up $20 million to get free from OKC. Now, reportedly, he's going to sign a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Knicks.
So at the end of the day, that's kind of a wash.
Kind of gave up $4 million, but even $4 million is a lot. You're talking to the guy. I'm willing to haggle over $4 in my life. So, but still, that's still a lot of money. Yeah. Now, people have wondered. The NBA has this thing called set off. Don't ask me why it's not called offset, because it should be. I don't understand this terminology.
That's true. Why have I never thought of that?
Yeah, right. It's so stupid. It's one of the things that bothers me maybe the most in the CBA. But what set off does is when the player signs his next contract, if team has dead money, they take some money off of the books from the new contract, and it basically evens it back out, so guys can't double dip. But historically, when a guy gives up this kind of money, they do not do set off. The buyout does not have to have set off in it. It's not a thing. So we'll find out. A couple other key points with this is OKC would not get that cap relief until after the season, and it only counts on the first contract signed after, not future. So Detroit Pistons fans did get a little bit of set off, or could have gotten a little bit of set off, I should say, with Blake Griffin. They will not get it this next contract because he's about to sign a new one. Hornets got a little bit of set-off money after Nick Batum signed with the Clippers last year. They will not get it off this new contract because, again, this is a new contract. So it's only that first contract signed after. So just a little bit of education piece there. And then just while we're on OKC, one of my most favorite things as a cap nerd is they are right now about $53.1 million over the salary cap, while simultaneously being $27.8 million under the salary floor.
That's it.
I broke your brain a little bit. Well, your Vegas brain.
Yeah, confused. Right. Yeah, that makes no sense, Keith. What is happening? What is happening in this world that they can somehow be both of those things at the same time?
So they have those huge trade exceptions, which do count against the salary cap. One of which expires today. Steven Adams for $27.5 million. So let's see if OKC gets involved in some salary dumpage here before the day is out. There's also they have a big trade exception that is good for a while longer for Trevor Ariza of $12.8 million. George Hill for $9.6 million. That one's good for a while longer too. And then they have a couple sizable cap holds. They're also carrying a bunch of old cap holds. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw me tweet about the Spurs renouncing guys who haven't played for the Spurs in a few years. OKC will eventually, presumably, at some point in the future when they actually use cap space, do this process as well. So we're we get some funny money going on there for the Thunder, but they will stay likely an over the cap team for the duration of this offseason due to trade exceptions and cap holds. So just a kind of fun little wrinkle right now that only they are prone to.
And it's not surprising to me that, of course, it's them that would have something like this. And I'm sure when we do hear that salary dump, there's going to be more picks coming to the Oklahoma City Thunder because they want all of them. Real quick on the Kemba thing, look, if you're a Knicks fan, you're championing that narrative. Like, hey, look how much money Kemba gave up in order to come here. How long has it been since free agents have wanted to come to us, right? Like that's
they're in my mention.
Yes, 100%. So that's definitely the way you're looking at it. Whereas you may also say, how much money did he give up to get away from the Oklahoma City Thunder at a team that's obviously not going to be contending this season? But I think let's stay on the positive side. He really badly wanted to be a New York Knick and was able to give up money in order to do that.
Yeah, no doubt. A couple quick news items. Very quickly here, we won't spend a lot of time on him. Jae'Sean Tate had his contract fully guaranteed by the Houston Rockets, so good for him. Guy who outplayed his non-guaranteed deal and got it now guaranteed. And then a couple waivers that a little surprising-ish. Caleb Martin and Dwayne Bacon were waived from Charlotte and Orlando, respectively. So we'll see ultimately what happens there. And then news item coming out of Sacramento, one of the Kings reporters said that the Kings have been pushing for a trade for Pascal Siakam, also the Clippers and the Warriors, and this included language that said the Clippers, Warriors, and Kings are enamored with Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet quote tweeted this and said, "Me too," which I thought was great.
That's great. That's great. And this is the Warriors thing we heard a while ago. The Warriors thing was a few weeks ago in relation to the 7 pick, the 14 pick, maybe James Wiseman. That was a rumor that was going around. So I don't know if maybe that's kind of piggybacking off that old one. But now hearing the Clippers, hearing the Kings as well interested in Pascal Siakam, I don't know, how motivated do you think Toronto actually is to move him? Because now this is multiple teams that we're hearing connected to Siakam. We don't know how serious those discussions got, but there must have been something there.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess is I mean, it's Masai, right? So you never really know for sure with him. But my guess is probably not very. I really don't know, though. I mean, they drafted Scotty Barnes, but he's not really a 4. I guess he can play some 4. Siakam can play some 5 as well and has played some 5. And that team, they re-signed Kem Birch. They still have Chris Boucher, but they didn't do a lot to beef up their center position yet in the offseason. So I really don't know. I'm a little confused. Another piece of Raptors news, Goran Dragic, speaking today on TV, came out and said he doesn't want to be in Toronto. Actually, use the terminology, I have higher aspirations. So clearly he is not a happy guy there. Whether that, it sounds like the Raptors have no intentions of buying him out.
That was the other piece to that.
Maybe there's a trade or something like that coming, but yeah, we'll see what happens with Goran Dragic. Most people around the league still tend to believe he probably will not play there, and it'll ultimately come down to a trade, or maybe he goes to them and gives up so much money in a buyout that they're like, done, if you really want to be free this badly. So Raptors fans did not take well to that language that he used of having higher aspirations. I can tell you that was all over Twitter today.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, this situation is becoming more and more interesting. This type of situation, we're finding more teams pushing back and saying, nope, we're not going to buy this guy out. You've got to come trade for them. And we're seeing teams cave. We're seeing other teams that want to go get somebody. Look at like Andre Iguodala with the Grizzlies, right? Teams are giving in and saying, okay, here's stuff for that guy. We believe you. You won't buy him out, right? And so that's just making teams more and more empowered to say that. And that's what the Toronto Raptors are doing. They're saying, look, we're not going to buy this guy out. We know teams want him. If you want him, you have to give us stuff for him. But then if you're the player, meanwhile, you're saying, get me out of here. I don't have time to wait for your staring contest to end. It's an interesting dynamic to see how it all plays out. And of course, Dragic making it clear that he doesn't want to stay in Toronto. What does that do to trade offers? All three sides are going to eventually have to find some sort of a middle ground, whether it's a trade or if Dragic just finally says, look, I'll take a big hit on a buyout. We'll see where it goes. But again, we're seeing more teams that are in this situation where the player wants out, where the vultures are circling. Other teams are waiting for the player to get bought out. They're just saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to help you.
Yeah, and people might be then thinking, like, why did Kemba get bought out? Well, that's a different, very, very different situation. That was, $73 million on the table total for Kemba versus $19 million for Goran Dragic. And by all accounts, the Thunder tried very hard to find a trade, and it's just a very big number. It's just not an easy to move salary. So that's why just an extremely different situation there. You want to get into some quick summer league thoughts? Yeah,
let's do it. Let's talk a little bit of summer league.
Yeah.
So I was able to go check out a few games in person. I know you were able to see quite a few of them as well. I got to say,
because I'm a maniac, I taped a handful of them, watched parts of them this morning as I was going about my day. So.
If your commitment level is not recording summer league games, you're not on Keith's level of any of this.
Get out of here.
My biggest takeaway so far is, oh my gosh, Jalen Green is really good. He looked fantastic, but then he had some comments after about like how, he's from playing in the G League for so long. It's a more natural transition for him to go into a summer league style play. So that does make some sense, and it does explain why he looks so comfortable. But still, some of the shots he was making, Rockets fans in the building were very excited.
Yeah, and my note was all of the Houston young guys looked pretty good.
Sengun did too.
I thought KJ Martin looked good. When he went up and blocked that alley-oop from Evan Mobley.
That was nice.
That was some athleticism there and strength too to send that one back. I thought Alperen Sengun looked really good.
He did.
Missed a lot of shots, but I think that was just a timing thing, and reportedly he hadn't he went from being with Turkey trying to qualify for the Olympics right to the draft stuff, right to Houston, right to Las Vegas. So, but I thought his rebounding was great. I thought he held up fairly well defensively against Mobley. I thought Mobley was good. I thought he looked really good. I thought Isaac Okoro, you guys are going to hear me say this phrase probably a lot. I think Isaac Okoro is too good to be there. I mean, he was just overpowering guys, getting to the basket whenever he wanted. Clearly, Cleveland's putting him in a position where they want you to work on being the offense initiator, the playmaker. But yeah, good stuff out of those guys. That one I watched probably just about the whole game. The other one I know I watched the whole game of, I don't think you caught any of it, but was Boston and Atlanta.
No, I did not.
For my in-depth thoughts on the Celtics guys, you can go read my piece at Celtics blog where I did takeaways from the game there. But Jalen Johnson from the Hawks really popped. Looked really good, really athletic. He was bigger than I thought he would look. He just dominated Boston inside. But the Celtics Summer League team does not have very good bigs on it at all. From the Celtics side, it was kind of all about Yam Madar, the kid that they drafted out of Israel last year in the 2020 draft. Really popped with some flash. He's got some swagger, and he's going to let you know too when he gets you. So, but you can read in-depth thoughts on the Celtics guys there. I thought Scotty Barnes looked pretty good for Toronto, overpowering at times. As an offensive player and a defender. Obi Toppin looked dominant for the Knicks. Emmanuel Quickly looked good. Quickly looked good again today against the Pacers as we're recording this on Monday afternoon. So again, probably a cameo appearance for those guys. They don't need to be here. Probably 2, 3, maybe 4 games out of them, and then they're done. Charlotte, I thought Bouknight and Jones, their 2 first-round picks, both looked pretty good. Flashed at times. Jones is super athletic, man. That kid can really get up and run the floor. So he's going to look fun with LaMelo Ball getting on and running.
Absolutely.
And then Jello,
hit some shots.
Jello played. Yeah, he hit some shots. Played all right defensively at times. So maybe there's something there with the Hornets G League team. We'll see with that one. A game I know you watched, OKC and Detroit.
Cade Cunningham looked real smooth. Didn't put up a big, gaudy numbers, but just looked very smooth.
Here's what I wonder: Killian Hayes looked weird with him.
Yeah,
right? Because that part. So I'm kind of curious to see how that works. Now it was one summer league game, so let's not get stupid about it. But it was weird, and you could tell Killian Hayes was a little like, I don't do this, right? He doesn't play off the ball. So with that, and then I thought Maladon and Robinson Earl looked good for OKC. Teo Maladon really controlled things. A couple more quick hits, late games. Caleb Agata looked good for Denver. I thought he was really solid for the Nuggets. We'll see if he can get a camp deal out of this. And then Jalen Smith for the Suns.
He looked really good.
The Lakers. Yep. I thought he looked pretty good.
First half, anyway. Second half got a little rough.
First half, Second half was a little messy. Lakers guys, they were fine. I'm not picking on them. I just, it was a couple two-way guys and then guys who maybe will be on South Bay. So, so we'll see. I will watch them more so I can comment and be fair to my Lakers buddy here.
I mean, Austin Reeves looked good. Devontae Kaycock he was probably a little bit too good for summer league, but we know he's also not quite good enough for the top level. So, but he looked great out there. Austin Reeves, obviously with the game winner, the put back at the buzzer, that was fun to see. Other than that, Mac McClung got exciting in the second half as well. But anyway, I
think Austin Reeves can play.
He can.
I think they might have something in him.
Yeah, I think he's an exciting one, but certainly want to keep an eye on. But Summer League, a lot of fun. Hopefully, everybody out there, you are watching these games, and if you're in Las Vegas, hopefully you are enjoying it like we are, having a good time here. And Keith, next year we'll get you out here.
Oh, no doubt. I will be there next year, provided the world has returned to some level of normalcy again, beyond what it's at right now. But yes, I will be there next year. Plus, my daughter will be old enough to be vaccinated by that point. We'll be ready to go. So yeah, I'm excited. I love it. As it stands right now, I'm going to watch all day. Orlando Magic tonight. Go check that one out in person, please.
I'm excited about that one.
Loaded with talent.
I'm excited about that one. All right, everybody. Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Anything that we talked about today that caught your fancy. And don't forget, subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell, and don't forget to like this video as well. Till next time, stay safe and see ya.